Welcome back to another video. So today's video is all about me learning to oil paint, and this is the first time I've ever tried it. I've been really reluctant to try it because it sounds really difficult, all the different, paints and the mediums, and you have to mix it, and it's all a bit stressful. But I've bought all my supplies and I'm ready to get started. So this video, you're going to see my very first attempt from when I first mix the paint and pick up the brush, right through to finishing my first painting. So let's get into it. Okay, so first up we have a clip of me struggling with a child lock. All of my bottles have this child lock on them where you have to push down and then twist. And the first couple times opening it is pretty tough. And then I struggle to pour it. This is the linseed oil, by the way. I thought I'd start off with my more traditional medium. I do have another one, Sanzur I think it's called, which is or liquid, I don't remember, which is a quick drying medium, but I'm not using it in this clip here. And now I get to work with the brushes. I think my problem here, I couldn't get it to spread very well, and that's because I just didn't have enough oil mixed into the paint. So it wasn't going anywhere. I was working so hard to try and get it down onto the paper and blend it out smoothly, and obviously it wasn't working for me. I just tried a few different types of strokes, kind of blending, straight strokes, cross hatching, with all my different types of brushes. I have square, round, filbert, and there's the fan brush there. And now this clip is where I discovered the joys of paint thinner. And I obviously used way too much. Especially there on that red one, where it just keeps blending out into infinity. Okay, so now that I've tested out all of my different brushes and got a feel for the paint, I'm laying out my palette for my first trial painting. And I'll just mention that the sketch pad I'm using is just a general multimedia pad. It has a sort of a watercolor paper texture to it. And there's a clip of me trying to figure out how to use a palette knife. So with my first layer of paint down on the sky, I'm mixing in a little bit of red with my phthalo blue and my white to try and get a nice sort of purple colour to darken in underneath where these kind of heavy rain clouds are going to be. And now we're starting on with the clouds. So I was kept finding in the beginning that I was getting a yellowish tint into the white of the cloud, and I realised that was coming from the linseed oil. So I just had to add a greater ratio of paint to oil and lay it down a little bit heavier than I was. I think I did this on the same day that I did the sky, which was, you know, part of my problem of getting it to lay down. It was blending into the back, it was blending into the blue, and while for a certain extent, as you can see me doing there, I'm kind of just creating depth and blending it out and creating lighter areas behind the clouds, it did really make it more difficult for me to build up the solid cloud shapes, and they were blending out and turning blue, and I was struggling to get a nice bright white cloud. So as you can see here, I didn't film me doing kind of blocking in the background and filling in the rest of the sea, because the day that I filmed that I forgot to charge my camera battery, so I couldn't take any footage. But yeah, the sea kind of came out alright. I feel like there's a bit too much direction to the brush strokes, if you get what I mean. It looks very like there's a lot of streaks or lines in it, but I was also trying to copy the pattern of the small waves, so I'll need to do a little bit more work on that. And also the greens, I had so much trouble doing the green, and I did so many layers even just on this front piece, and I eventually gave up on the hill in the background and on the rocks, because I figured I just needed to go back to some basics and learn how to mix my greens, and maybe buy some nicer yellows and blues for mixing, and maybe a nice kind of more natural green, because the only green I have is phthalo green and it just doesn't come up very nicely in my opinion. But that's just me adding a little bit of texture to, this field was cut for silage, so I'm just adding a little bit of texture to the stubble. So that's the end of the video, and as you can clearly see, I did not finish my first ever painting because I had to go away on placement and I just ran out of time, and yeah. But that's my first experience with oil painting, and I do have another painting already nearly complete, and I've filmed the whole thing from start to finish, and that video will be up in the next few weeks. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.